here we are going to look at how information moves from one computer to reach another. And I told you that in most cases, when data is being transmitted from one computer to another, data has to be forwarded to different locations and different devices or components until when it reaches the final receiver. Why is it like that? It's because sometimes computers might not be having a direct path or route which can deliver messages straight from the sender to the receiver. Sometimes the messages have to be sent to different locations first, or different computers and devices, until when it can reach the final computer or receiver supposed to receive the information. Now that process of sending data to different locations until it reaches the correct computer supposed to receive it, that is called switching data. That is called switching data. Just like as you're traveling by plane, in most cases, there's no direct route from Uganda to the country where you might be going, like the UK or any other country. You have to go to different airports, different countries. So they keep on transporting you from one country to another until when you reach the final destination. That's how information moves when computers are communicating. So we say that is referred to as switching data. That is referred to as switching data when it's being transmitted. But there are two methods of switching data. We have what we call packet switching. We have packet switching, and we have what we call circuit switching. Now, with packet switching, what happens? Let's assume we have 5 computers. We have computer 1, we have computer 2, we have computer 3, we have computer 4, and we have computer 5. Let's assume computer 1 wants to send information to computer 5. Now, with circuit switching, what happens is this. The computer which wants to send the data, what we call the sender, will inquire from the receiver whether the communication should go on or not. They will first inquire. Now, the process of inquiring, the process of the sending computer inquiring from the receiving computer whether the communication should go on is called handshaking. It's called handshaking. Why is it done? Now, when the sender asks the receiver to confirm if the communication should go on, the reason is the receiver will, first of all, check if there is a free network route or channel or link which can be used to transmit the data. What do I mean by network link? These connections here. We have several links. If data is moving from computer 1 to computer 5, it could either use this link or it could use this link. So what the receiving computer does, it first checks if all these links are not busy, to see if there's a link or channel which can be used to transmit the data. Then secondly, the receiver also will check if the available links have enough bandwidth or capacity to transmit the data. Bandwidth means the maximum amount of data which a communication channel can transmit. So if the receiver realizes that there's a free or the free routes or channels to be used for transmission, but their bandwidth is small and they cannot transmit the data, then in that case, the receiver will tell the sender, don't send the data. Now here, when the sender inquires from the receiver will check if there's a free route to transmit the data and check if a free route has got enough bandwidth to transmit the data. Then the receiver will communicate back to the sender to confirm whether the sender should send the data or whether the communication should go on or not. Now, after that, in circuit switching, after the sender and receiver carry out handshaking and agree that communication should go on, when communication is being done or when transmission is being done, it is done using only one route. So if the computers agree that we're using this route, which is 1 to 4 to 5, if this is the route they're using, sorry, 1 to 3 to 4 to 5, if they agree, then all the data will be sent. All the data will move at once through the route which has been chosen. Data is not broken down. But for packet switching, before data is transmitted, computers don't carry out handshaking. They don't agree where it should. They don't bargain where communication should go or not. No. What happens is data is broken down into different parts. So assuming we have our data which is file X, we shall get X1, X2, X3. Data is broken down into different parts, what we call the packets. Small size is called packets. Now each of the packets is given a number. That this is packet 1, maybe packet X1, packet X2. They're given what? Numbers to show the positions in the data where they should be lying. So after data has been broken down and the different packets have been given their numbers or positions, then each of the packets can be transmitted using any route. Each of them can be transmitted using any route. It doesn't really matter. When the packets reach the receiver, they are recombined to get back the original data. Now, since they have numbers on them, they can be recombined in order. At X1, X2, X3, then they get the original data, which is X. Now, what are the advantages and disadvantages for each? Now, for packet switching, since the packets move using different routes, it means that the network is more occupied and more utilized than left unused. Why? Because many channels can be busy and used at a time. That's one advantage. How is it an advantage? It's because remember, when you are paying for these communication channels, when you are going to use these communication channels, we pay for them. So if the more they are utilized, it means the more your money is being used than paying them for nothing. Secondly, for packet switching is faster. Why? Because no handshaking is required, and small data is transmitted in smaller sizes, which means the bandwidth is not overutilized. So there will be no chance. Data is in smaller sizes, so it moves faster. That is the point I'm trying to give you here. Then there's no need of doing handshaking, which means the communication is faster. However, the disadvantage for packet switching is that the packets, since computers don't carry out handshaking, it means that they won't be sure whether the bandwidth is enough to transmit the data or whether there are free routes to transmit the data. You might find that computers might break down the data, but by the time they begin transmitting the data, that all the network routes are busy, which means now the data will remain stuck. So there's no guarantee that there will be free routes to transmit data. And there's no guarantee that there will be enough bandwidth to transmit the data in packet switching. But for circuit switching, since they first agree, since the receiver first confirms that bandwidth is enough and there are free routes, it means that there is a guarantee and an obvious or automatic fact that data will be delivered by all means. Why? Because the route to transmit it is there. It has been checked and confirmed. And two, the bandwidth of the route transmitted is also enough. So in circuit switching, there's a guarantee of delivering all the data. Another advantage for circuit switching is that data moves at once. It's not broken down. But for packet switching, data is broken down. You may find that part of it has not been delivered. It's very possible because it does not move all at once. So some of it might be left out. In year 11, you remember we are looking at the parity bits and those checks. It is possible. that part of the information might not reach. It's very possible. But for circuit switching, data moves at once. So by all means, data has to be delivered. Nothing can easily be left out. So that's about circuit switching and packet switching. Next in your syllabus, we're supposed to look at, yesterday we looked at peer-to-peer networks. I think you remember. Peer-to-peer networks, we say that peer-to-peer networks are computer networks where computers communicate directly to one another. Peer-to-peer networks. Peer-to-peer networks. This is where computers communicate directly to one another without having to use a server. We don't need a server. They communicate directly to one another. That's called peer-to-peer communication or networking. Now we say that an example of peer-to-peer network is what we call the BitTorrent. One application is a BitTorrent. We said BitTorrent works in a way that, I think you remember, we say that the computers that download one of the files, they will keep that file, and then they will become the source of that file. So assuming we have a server here, we have a server somewhere and skipping a movie. If you have two computers using BitTorrent here, what happens if computer one downloads part one of the movie? If computer one downloads part one of the movie, it means part one of the movie will no longer exist on the original server. Part one won't be there because it has now been shifted to computer one, which has downloaded it. So computer one becomes the source of part one. When computer two wants part one, they will not go to the server, but they will go straight to computer one and pick part one. If computer two downloads maybe part two, then computer two will have part two. So it means any other computer that wants part two, it will no longer go to the server. It will just basically go to computer two and find part two. So the whole picture here is that in doing BitTorrent, a computer which downloads the file keeps the file and it becomes the source of that file. So other computers find that file from that computer. Now, that one makes communication faster. Why? Because the computers won't have to go through the servers to get the file. No, they'll be having direct connections to these computers. So even if the server is somewhere too far away, these ones will get the files directly from there. They'll find them there. So it reduces these chances of those risks of where the server gets spoiled and the network cannot function. They can get the files straight away from the other computers. Then we say that among these computers here, we said first of all the computers that participate in downloading files when using BitTorrent, all those computers are referred to as, I think you guys remember, we call them what? We call them peers. All these computers that participate in using bit or downloading files during BitTorrent are called what? Peers. Then we say that in order for a computer to know which file has been downloaded by another computer, there is a computer called a tracker. There's a computer called a tracker. So for example, if computer 2 wants to know, for example, if computer 1 downloaded part 1 and computer 2 wants part 1, computer 2 will look at the information that the tracker has. The tracker will be showing the computer and the file that it has. So it shows that computer 1 has got part 1. Computer 2 has got part 2. So the tracker basically is like a collection of information showing which files have been downloaded by which computers. so that the other computers that need those files can know which computers to pick the files from. It's called a tracker. Then we had some other terminologies. I don't know whether you guys remember. We had some other terminologies. Let me get them here. We had some other terminologies on BitTorrent. We had some other terminologies here. They list them here very well. So we had what we call, give me a second. Right here. One, we said there was a tracker, which we have already finished. It's a central server or computer which keeps all details of all the files that computers have, the other computers or peers have downloaded. Then we had what we call a seed. We said the seed is it's a peer computer or a computer which has downloaded 100% of a file.
I'm not seeing anything on the screen.
Sir, I'm not seeing anything on the screen.
Okay, sorry. Is it now clear?
Yeah.
Good. So a seed is a computer among the BitTorrent computers that has downloaded 100% of a file. It has finished like downloading like a certain file like completely. Then a swarm just basically refers to the group of all connected computers using BitTorrent. That's called a swarm. All of them together, they form what we call a swarm. Then each of the computers is referred to as a peer. So swarm is a collection of all the connected peer computers that are participating in a BitTorrent operation or functionality or downloads. I'm done with that. Good. Now next, your syllabus requires you to know about the different hardware devices that are used during communication. The most important thing here that they're talking about are the switches, routers, servers, and network interface cards. These ones I may not talk about them so much because I already prepared 2 videos for them, but I would want to talk about routers. I would like to talk about routers, even if the video is clear. Now, what is a router? A router is a computer device which picks information from one network. It picks information from one network and forwards it to another network. It will pick information from this network and pass it over to another network. However, there's something you need to know. Routers help us so much because we have so many computer networks in the whole world, so many of them. So how does the information know that I'm now going to this network and I'm not supposed to go to this network? It is the routers that guide that information. Routers act like, you see how you see towards guides. Towards guides are used to direct you where you want to go. I want to go and see, maybe to see lions. Then they tell you pass here, then they put you there. Which means basically they're choosing for you the best route you should take in order to reach where you're going. So even routers do the same thing. Routers pick data from a computer network, then they determine which route that data should take in order to reach the correct network and the correct receiver. They determine which route. Then they guide that information, they forward it through the route. That's how they work. The purpose is to pass data from one network to another. But how do they do it? They receive the data. After receiving the data, they inspect that data and they determine which route connects to where the data is supposed to go. Which route connects to the network that is having the computer supposed to receive the data. So after knowing the route, then they forward the information to that route. How do they know that this network is the one having the receiver supposed to receive the data. They have what we call a routing table. They have what we call a routing table. Now, they use the information in the routing table to determine which computers, which networks are connecting to the data that's being transmitted. This is just a brief explanation, but everything is in the videos. But the routing table is very, very important. Now, in the videos I want to send you, they will even show you which kind of information is found in the routing tables, which guides there, which the routers use to know that now this computer is on this network connects this other router, or it's in this location. They use what we call routing tables. More is in the videos, you find it there. The video is about networking devices. I already sent it to you, and I'm going to resend. Now, another thing we talk about in this topic is what we call the way local area networks work, then network topologies. So let's begin from the way local area networks work. What's a local area network? A local area network is a computer network which operates in a short distance. It operates in a short distance, but the computers and devices are connected using cables or wires. It's a computer network which operates in a small distance or over a small distance, but with computers and devices connected using cables or wires. Now, we have what called network topologies, which apply to local area networks. Network topologies. The word topology means arrangement. Topology means arrangement. How are the devices on the network being arranged? That is network topology. How have we arranged? How are the devices and computers arranged on that network? So that method of, or that way or design used to organize computers on the network is called network topology. How many topologies do we have? Let me show you examples for you to understand. Everything is in the videos, but let me just give you examples. One, we have a network arrangement where computers are connected to one main cable. One main cable. Then you get the computers there, like that. They are connected to one main cable. This is called the bus topology. That's called the bus topology. Computers are connected to one main cable. Then we have another arrangement or topology where computers are connected to one central computer or device, like this. We have a central computer here or device, and they're all connected to that central computer or device. Everything is in the videos. This is called the star topology. These are the ones you're supposed to know in your syllabus. These are the ones. And they're already described in the videos, plus their advantages and disadvantages. You find them there, more how they work. I explained them already there. But this is what we mean by topology. In Cambodia, the one we are using in the computer lab is the star topology. Why? Because we have a server and all our computers and devices plus the printer are connected to the server. So the server being the central device which communicates information to each of these ones. That one creates what we call the star